let me ask you a question about Israel. There's a lot happening over there these days. An election is approaching in early April. It appears that Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to be indicted on corruption charges, and it also appears that many Israelis continue to think, nonetheless, that he's the only person who can effectively lead Israel. Recently, Netanyahu has made overtures to the Koch party, the party of the extremist Meir Kahane. That move has been denounced by major Jewish organizations, including AIPAC and AJC, who typically have taken the position that supporting Israel means supporting whatever government Israelis have chosen. So what do you make of all that?
What do you make of all that? What are you asking me for? So I'm going to say something, those of you who follow me on Facebook won't be surprised, controversial. I actually think there is a way of, I'm going to begin with the positive, and that is that rather than looking at all these as problems of the prime minister and the government, Israel does have a very strong democratic culture. And what you are seeing is a person in power that's being held to account by law, by a system of law. And as much as people want to criticize Israel, and you know that people want to criticize Israel all the time, we have a responsibility to lead positive, and even in the face of this, say, we got a guy that is being held accountable to the law. Now, whether he did it or didn't, I won't take a view on. You can make up your mind of that. But the point is, there's a process in place, and that speaks depths to the democracy that's built into the culture. Moving beyond the positive spin on it, it's never good to have your president or your prime minister indicted, and I think just all things considered. So that's that PhD talking again, right? I would say that I think the other good news to this story is that AIPAC and AJC are not, and those of you who may be critical of pro-Israel groups, they aren't simply pro-Israel without limit. They're pro-Israel with a particular, maybe wider range than some would approach, but within a wide range of what I would say justice parameters. And those justice parameters were violated when the prime minister reached out to the Koch party. And I will say that this is not an issue in religious determination. Young Israel nationally came out with a statement, and I'm just going to recognize Rabbi Schulman and John T. Feldscher, the leadership of Young Israel, that said, look, we are a complicated community, and without taking a position on it, we have to understand what's going on in Israel, and I said this before, it's not about religion, it's about the political concentration of force behind a particular expression of Jewish life, and that's what we have to be most challenged about.
Well, Andrew, as your editor and as the architect of the 59-minute annual meeting, it's my sad duty to tell you that we're nearing the end of the time that we've allotted for this part of the program. But let me just ask you finally, as you move on to your next life's adventure, is there anything else in particular you'd like to talk about with the community that you haven't had a chance to address yet?
What is this fetish with short meetings? That's what you've really touched the gamut of things. I guess if I could, just recognize how humbling it was to be asked to serve this position, and how personally really honored I was to have taken this on, to have been selected for this. I want to thank a couple of key individuals, and I want to start with Bob Millstone, who led the search committee, and along with Todd Seawalk, with Steve Miller, with Michael Steinberg, with Patty Krogan, who was on that, Stacy Seawalk. Who else was on the search committee? Mont Levy, who was there, who dissuaded, or tried to dissuade me, I think, at one point, rightfully so, but ultimately took a chance on me. And I never imagined I would lead a Jewish community. I'd always aspired to some kind of leadership, but your willingness to take a chance If it changed the community for the better, I'm pleased, I'm truly honored. But you have to realize at a personal level, you really changed my life, and you changed my family's life. And I get choked up, but just to thank my wife, Maggie Greenberg, to thank my kids who were in high school, and this was not the time to take on this job, I will tell you, and I know that it was hard. So Hogan and Emma, who is watching on video, and Corbin, who is adding such value as a dear member of our family, thank you, and of course my mother Beverly, who is with me at every moment. Would you please give them a hand? I also want to thank Washington University in St. Louis, and I think that you all need to know in a way that I think only maybe Patty and Bob know how important some things that went on there about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, were in order to maintain me here, and what their willingness to be flexible. Their ability to be supportive of this region was in some ways a model for me in thinking about what the Federation ought to be for here. So it was just really, thank you all for taking such a chance on me and on this leadership. I hope you give the next woman that takes this job a great, or man, the same kind of charity and graciousness in accepting their leadership. So thank you.
Well, Andrew, I know I speak for all of us when I say you've done a tremendous amount for our community, and on a personal level, I want to just tell you how rewarding it's been and what a personal joy it's been to work with you in partnership. And so just a heartfelt thank you to everything you've done, and best of success in your new adventure.
Gary, thank you. It's been an honor. Great. Thank you.